Many fans consider Spaceballs one of the most popular and hilarious film parodies of all time, with the movie becoming a true cult classic since its original 1987 release. In this video, you will see how have the actors of the movie Spaceballs changed. You will know their real names and age. I will show you how they looked then, in 1984, and what's with them now, in 2025. Okay, let's go. John Candy as Barf, born October 31st, 1950. During his time on the big screen, few actors were more beloved than John Candy, an incredibly talented comedic performer who stole the show in countless films across the 80s and early 90s. He donned a furry wig as the lovable sidekick Barf in Spaceballs. Age filming, 37 years old, starting out as a comedian in Canada before joining up with the Second City in Toronto. Candy made a name for himself with early Hollywood roles in Steven Spielberg's 1941 and the comedy classic, The Blues Brothers. It wasn't until starring with Bill Murray in Stripes and Chevy Chase in National Lampoon's Vacation that he started to truly become a household name. Following his role as Barf, Candy continued to delight audiences until his sudden death in 1994 from a heart attack at age of 43. Dick Van Patten as King Roland, born December 9, 1928, best known for his role on the TV series 8 is Enough. Dick Van Patten played King Roland, extravagant father of Princess Vespa. Age filming, 59 years old. Van Patten has acted in some films, but has always enjoyed immense success on television. He died June 23, 2015 at age 86. Joan Rivers as Dot Matrix, born June 8, 1933, as one of the most famous women in comedy and most celebrated comedians of all time. Joan Rivers is another titan that needs no introduction. She constantly pushed against boundaries and broke through barriers that few others could. In the grand scheme of her career, her hilarious role as sassy robot Dot Matrix in Spaceballs at age of 54, while a seminal part of the film, is more of a footnote than a high point. Rivers started as a club comic on the 1960s New York scene, before becoming a regular guest on The Tonight Show throughout the Johnny Carson era. After an impressive 55-year career as a comedian, Rivers unfortunately passed away from complications during surgery in 2014 at age of 81. Rick Moranis as Dark Helmet, born April 18, 1953. Rick Moranis is a Canadian actor, writer, and musician who played the villainous role of Dark Helmet at age of 34. The heroic Lone Star's fathers, brothers, nephews, cousins, former roommate and a Schwartz-wielding villain, Moranis' career was really heating up in the 1980s before and after Spaceballs, with the actor landing successful roles in movies like Ghostbusters, Little Shop of Horrors, Parenthood and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Moranis started off as a Canadian disc jockey before finding his way to improv comedy on Second City Television, where he and Dave Thomas created the classic sketch The Great White North. Following his slate of starring roles, Rick Moranis intentionally stepped out of the spotlight to focus on raising his kids after the 1991 death of his wife. Now he is 72. George Wyner as Colonel Sandurz, born October 20, 1945. An American actor who turned up in over 100 television series. George Wyner is probably best known for his role as the villainous Colonel Sandurz at age of 42 in Spaceballs. The character was intended to be a parody of evil second-in-command characters such as Grand Moff Tarkin from Star Wars, but was named after the famous chicken monger Colonel Sandurz. George Wyner went on to have a very successful acting career following his appearance in Spaceballs, being featured in films such as The Postman, The Devil's Advocate, and the critically acclaimed Coen brothers film A Serious Man. Additionally, Wyner has also guest starred in several television series during the 1990s and 2000s, including The Golden Girls, The West Wing, House, The Big Bang Theory, and The Umbrella Academy. Now he is 79. Michael Winslow as radar technician, born September 6, 1958. Although his character may not have an actual name in Spaceballs, having been credited as radar technician at age of 29, Michael Winslow is one of the most unique members of the film's cast because of his famously impressive voice. Known as the man of 10.000 sound effects, Winslow has fashioned a career out of making interesting and realistic sounds with only his voice. Following the release of Spaceballs in 1987, Michael Winslow continued to appear in movies such as in Police Academy, Grand Theft Auto, Robot Chicken, and multiple different late-night shows. Now he is 67. Jim J. Bullock as Prince Valium. Born February 9, 1955. American comedian, actor, and performer Jim J. Bullock gained prominence in his small but notable role as Prince Valium at age of 32 in Spaceballs. As Princess Vespa's narcoleptic fiancé, his character is mostly relegated to being a one-off joke character who's named after a famously anxiety-reducing and sleep-inducing benzodiazepine. Beyond Spaceballs, Bullock has built an impressive career within the entertainment industry as an active performer in television, film, and live theater. Bullock also played Mr. Monroe on the Nickelodeon show Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, and appeared in a dozen episodes of the soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful as a wedding planner. Now he is 70. Mel Brooks as President Scroob, Yogurt. Born June 28, 1926. The writer and director of classic comedies Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein decided to spoof sci-fi films with Spaceballs, in which he cast himself as President Scroob. Scroob is an anagram for Brooks and Yogurt, the character based on Star Wars guru Yoda. Age filming, 61 years old. Mel Brooks has been in show business for more than 7 decades, each of those being as productive as the last. Following the release of Spaceballs in 1987, Brooks continued producing and starring in a number of films such as Life Stinks, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and Dracula, Dead and Loving It. Now he is 98 years old. Brenda Strong as Nurse Gretchen. Born March 25, 1960. As Nurse Gretchen in Spaceballs at age of 27, Brenda Strong made just her second big screen appearance in a hilarious role. She plays opposite a lecherous plastic surgeon who she proceeds to make out in the scenes. Nonetheless, Brenda Strong went on to have a fantastic and varied acting career following this early, small appearance in Spaceballs. Strong's career really kicked into gear on television with guest stints or recurring roles on groundbreaking series such as Twin Peaks, Seinfeld, Scandal, Star Trek, The Next Generation, and, more recently, Supergirl. Her biggest success, however, was during her time on Desperate Housewives from 2004 to 2012. She was nominated for 2 Emmys as the deceased character Mary Alice Young. Now she is 65. Tim Russ as the Desert Combing Trooper. Born June 22, 1956. Tim Russ in role as the Desert Combing Trooper, a dark helmet minion. Russ is forced to literally comb the hot desert with a giant comb. His small but notable role became one of the funniest parts of the entire movie. Age filming, 31 years old. Tim Russ is an actor, director, and writer who has become famous for his iconic role in Star Trek Voyager as the Vulcan Lieutenant Commander Tuvok. The USS Voyager's second officer, Tuvok is working undercover as a spy aboard a Maquis ship when the series opens. Additionally, Russ has had a successful career starring in other series such as Samantha Who, iCarly, and The Highwayman. Now he is 69. Bill Pullman as Lone Starr. Born December 17, 1953. Starring in the leading role of Lone Starr, a satirical combination of both Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. Bill Pullman was a crucial part of what made Spaceballs work by being the dashing straight man who fired off the snarky one-liners. Age filming, 34 years old. Despite being a fantastic comedic performer in this film, Bill Pullman has had a varied career across different genres in the years following Spaceballs. Pullman went on to star in films such as A League of Their Own, Sleepless in Seattle, Casper, and Lost Highway, before landing arguably his most famous role of all time as the President of the United States in the alien invasion epic Independence Day. He has become a part of pop culture for his climactic speech towards the end of the film. Since the 90s, Pullman has been a consistently working actor, taking on roles in everything from film, to animation, to television, to live theater. Now he is 72. Stephen Tobolowsky as Captain of the Guard. Born May 30, 1951. Stephen Tobolowsky stood out amongst the Spaceballs cast for his role as the Captain of the Guard at age of 36. Who fights against Lone Starr and the gang. His character is the one to realize that his guards actually capture their own stunt doubles, which is one of the funnier visual gags in the whole movie. Tobolowsky has been in a number of classic movies beyond Spaceballs, including Groundhog Day, Memento, and Thelma and Louise, just to name a few. He is a prolific character actor who has appeared in hundreds of movies and shows over the years. Usually in comedic roles, now he is 74. Daphne Zuniga as Princess Vespa. Born October 28, 1962. One of the unsung heroes of Spaceballs is Daphne Zuniga in her iconic role as Princess Vespa at age of 25, where she showed off serious comedic talent playing against Pullman, Candy, and Joan Rivers throughout the film. Zuniga started her acting career in 1982 at the age of 19 and continued to appear in a number of films preceding her role in Spaceballs. She also happened to star alongside the legendary Lucille Ball in a TV drama called Stone Pillow about a year beforehand. Her most famous role, however, came some years later when she starred as Jo Reynolds on the hit Fox series Melrose Place, which ran from 1992 to 1996. Beyond acting, Zuniga has become a strong and vocal advocate of the environment, contributing her time and energy to organizations such as the Natural Resources Defense Council and Environment California. Now she is 63.